To the Paul Farrington Show, reacting to the Packers' monster 31-24 win over the Lions. Wishing everybody a very happy Thanksgiving Day. Cowboys and Chiefs is going right now, but we're reacting only to the Packers and Lions, which was just an awesome football game from an NFC North fan standpoint. Again, with the Vikings kind of being out of it in some sense, it makes it a little easier to sit back and watch this thing, being less nervous. Last year, I remember the Bears-Lions coming down to the wire when the Bears just had that terrible collapse at the end. And I'm sitting there at the table. Of course, same exact thing happens this year. And you can't complain because your moms or whoever's cooking dinner works so hard all day or multiple days leading up to it. And at least in my house, it always seems to be just when the game is at its critical point. All right, let's go. Time to eat. So I'm like, okay, all right, gotta run into the kitchen. I have my phone. I'm just watching that unbelievable fourth down play call from the Packers, which we are arguing in our group chat, me, Jack, Ziggy, and Zach, about whether fourth downs earlier and Dan Campbell's decision making, which we'll get to in a moment here. But right there at the end, the Packers fans have been critical of Matt LaFleur of not putting games away, not playing to win, being too conservative. We've seen it this year multiple times. And here you are in Detroit, right? 7-3-1 Packers, the 7-4 Lions. And even though the records are fantastic, the Lions are out of the playoffs right now, right? This game could be ultimately one that decides not just a team winning the division, because we're still all chasing the Bears, but making the playoffs. And the Packers have a 4th and 3 at the Detroit 45-yard line, and Matt LaFleur, I think I may have punted. Honestly, I might not have had the balls to do it. Matt LaFleur rolls the offense back out, and Jordan Love hits Dontayvion Wicks on a 16-yard completion to ice the game, move Green Bay to 8-3-1. Now they have a game and a half up on Detroit. I mean, just an absolutely monster win for the Packers. Wicks was great all day. We're going to hit both teams here. We'll start with Green Bay. Wicks was just 6 receptions, 94 yards, 2 touchdowns. His first touchdown coming in the back left corner of the end zone. I don't know if he actually caught it or not. It was pretty damn close in the moment. You see, I believe it was his right foot that touchdown just as the ball hit his hands. And you're watching on replay that looks like there's maybe a sliver of shuffle of the football as he's collecting it, but they ruled a touchdown. I mean, that was just a huge play, a huge way to start the game for Green Bay, or in the second quarter, to go up 10-0, extend that lead that they were able to protect throughout. He was just great the entire day. Obviously, Christian Watson has the 51-yard touchdown, perfect pass from Jordan Love. He's been nothing short of necessary, right? Vital to this Packer offense. With Tucker Kraft being out for the season now, you need someone to step up, and we were there in Green Bay last week. Christian Watson is a big dude. I mean, he is a large human being. It may not always play that way on TV, and if you're just thinking about fast receivers, you may not actually picture Christian Watson in your head or being that big. Maybe you'd imagine him a little smaller. He's a big guy, and the 51-yarder was obviously big, but just as important in some regards was the third down conversion there on the Packers' final drive to put the game away. You would like to see him get down. I think at the end there, some of the Packers' clock management, even though you're happy with the way that final drive goes with the win, Watson gets the first down. It's just these little things, right, that create championship cultures. Watson gets down there, you're burning another 40 seconds, or the Lions are taking that final timeout. Instead, he goes out of bounds. Then on that, and that changes the play call, right? On the next third down, when Watson had sort of a drop, I mean, he was pretty much covered. But that stops the clock again. And if you're a Packer fan, you're thinking, okay, that's 2 plays now that we could have kept this clock running. And then it really doesn't even matter if you go for it on fourth down. I understand that the situation impacts the following play calls, but those are just little things that Green Bay can work on. Because, right now they look like a Super Bowl team on a day like today. And I'm going to get to a couple more guys here. Micah Parsons, holy crap. The whole year he's been great. Last week, dominated, took over against J.J. McCarthy. Poor J.J. My goodness, just poor J.J. last week, watching him get thrown around like a rag doll. Micah's bulldozing over our first-round draft picks. It's just, I still can't believe. Happy Thanksgiving to Ziggy, Jack, and Zach, who can't make it today. You're stuck with just me. Jack said he may be throwing this up in front of his entire family. If that's the case, happy Thanksgiving to all the Weinbergers, the Swanseas, whoever's over at the Weinberger household. Thanks for watching this. I can't believe you're spending your Thanksgiving watching this. But Mike, we were hearing chants of "Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Jerry." I'm seeing it in the comment section here, and I mean he, critical today. 2.5 sacks, 8 total tackles, 4 QB hits alone. Right, 4 of the 7 QB hits for the Packers come from Micah Parsons. 2.5 of the 3 sacks. He had the monster 3rd and goal sack of Goff that took them out of range to go for it on 4th down. And knowing Dan Campbell, if that thing's anywhere within like maybe 7 yards, they're going to go for it. Made Detroit kick the field goal to make it 31-24. And even that, right? Even though the Lions still score, not converting a touchdown there, it just changes the momentum. That felt like it was sort of a little bit of that last shift in momentum that Green Bay needed, carrying the touchdown lead that they ultimately wound up holding on to for the remainder of the game. Micah was just great. He was clutch. He's clearly the cornerstone of that team on defense moving forward. Everyone knows it, but he's great. And lastly, I just want to talk about Jordan Love, man. Toyotathon. Something about Toyotathon. I don't know. I don't know if it actually correlates. I haven't looked at the numbers too closely. 18 for 30, 234 yards, 4 touchdowns, 124.2 QB rating. He tied Brett Favre for the most Packer touchdowns on Thanksgiving. I thought he was excellent. I thought he was nothing short of excellent, and that's what the Packers need to win the Super Bowl. We've said this a million times, right? The defense is very good. The defense has been awesome lately. They are susceptible at times to giving up untimely touchdown drives or untimely, not that there's ever a good time to allow like an 8 or 9 minute scoring drive, but every now and then with the Packer defense, it can be when you feel like you need that one stop, they can't get it. And you saw it a few times today where it seemed like Detroit was 1 3-and-out away from really being taken out of this thing. And in the second quarter, with Amon-Ra St. Brown going down, they're able to find a way into the end zone on back-to-back possessions, which kept them in the game. It made 17-14 at halftime, and you got to give credit to them there. Again, we'll get to Detroit in a bit. But the Packers' defense at times just hasn't been able to get that one stop you feel like you need. And on this day where that was the case at one point, the Packers go field goal, 3-and-out, touchdown, 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 3-and-out, end of game, 9-play, 34 3-minute drive. So you have 2 3-and-outs there. It's sandwiched between it 4 straight touchdown drives from the Packers. Every time Detroit scored, Green Bay answered, and Jordan Love was just time after time making clutch throws, picture-perfect throws that you saw him making during that run in 2023. And if the Packer defense, right, if you get what the Packer defense typically gives you, the Packers are great Jordan Love away from being most people's favorite to go to the Super Bowl, especially Ziggy. I mean, Ziggy, we all know, like, Ziggy's going to be talking about the Packers going to the Super Bowl ad nauseum here. I'm not going to do that. I think this version of Green Bay is as good as any team in the NFC because I'm a Lions guy. Everyone has got on me before. I think the Lions are really good. Clearly losing Amon-Ra St. Brown today. Kirby Joseph isn't playing. Lions are down a few pieces. I know the Packers are too, okay? I understand everyone's dealing with injuries. Like, that's a good football team in Detroit. And Green Bay controlled most of the game, right? They were in control most of the game. It always felt like one team was going to have that. You were waiting for that major breakout moment. I believe it was a turnover-free game, right? Let me just confirm. Yeah, no turnovers there. It felt like for a brief moment, right? The Romeo Doubs fumble, I think is the 3rd or 4th quarter on the 5-yard line, and Rasheed Walker just an unbelievably massive fumble recovery. Felt like that could have been a turning point, but there was never that one play that either team really could make to separate themselves, or for Detroit to regain the lead, or to gain the lead for the first time. But Jordan Love, man, that is an MVP caliber performance today. That is a Toyotathon Jordan Love performance today. And, that last throw to Wicks, sometimes he just puts it up there, and these Packers receivers who catch a lot of flack at times, and they had a few critical games with big-time drops. The Philly one stands out, right? They couldn't hold on to the football. In the Giant game, couldn't hold on to the football. The hands looked pretty damn good today. And if Dontayvion Wicks plays like this, it changes a lot, because you're still getting Jaden Reed back. It couldn't have been more impressed with the Packer offense today. Really couldn't have been more impressed with them. So let me just see here what's going on in the chat, because we're gonna get to the lines in a second here. It looks like they didn't cancel Toyotathon for you. Sorry, Paul. Brutal. Thank God the Vikings honestly aren't competitive right now, because I'd just be the end of the season would crush me here as we get Green Bay again. We'll get Detroit again later on. It would wind up destroying me. Now the Lions, it's a tough loss. It's a hard pill to swallow. For some reason, Green Bay just seems to really have it when they show up in Detroit, which is a place where a lot of teams struggle. That crowd is unbelievable. Lions fans, as much credit as we give Packers fans for just seemingly being awesome, even though whatever. Lions fans are great. They are passionate. They are loud. They travel well. Thanksgiving, they show up every single year. But the Packers just, for some reason, seem to, the Packers are a team, I think, that plays better in a dome. They play better in a controlled environment. Jordan Love, in particular, is what I'm talking about here, even though LaFleur is more of an established the run coach. But for Detroit, obviously, Amon-Ra going down. We're going to have to see the severity of his ankle injury. Tate Ratledge is dealing with a neck injury. You could see him wincing most of the game. You're going to get Frank Ragnow back, which is huge. Christian Mahogany's out. The line still, this isn't the final version or the healthiest version of the Detroit Lions offensive line. And you could see that, right? You could see that on a couple critical plays, such as the 3rd and 3 and 4th and 3 earlier on in the game when the Lions, let me see, was that in the third quarter, actually? That might have been the third quarter. Yeah, in the third quarter, it's a 17-14 game. Yeah, it's the opening drive of the third quarter. And the Lions are on the Green Bay 46-yard line. I'm a little confused with what Dan Campbell's doing at times. We can give him a lot of credit for the Lions offense, being one of the leading scorer, I think, in the NFC in points per game. But you're on the 46-yard line, it's 3rd and 2, and you run Jahmyr Gibbs for -1 yards. He loses a yard, goes back to the 47. It's 4th and 3. No problem trotting your team back out there, but you run the same damn play. You're doing another shotgun handoff, and it's -2 yards, turnover on downs. We're talking with our good buddy Tom Monroe, big Lions fan. He says, our injury-depleted offensive line. Why are we running right up the middle of the interior? The part that's hurt. The part where we struggle the most all year. It makes no sense. And then later on in the game, start of the fourth quarter, right, 31-21. And I will say, after that turnover on downs, the Packers, that's the Christian Watson play. 51-yard touchdown right after that. Makes it 24-14. It's a 10-point game. The start of the fourth quarter, it's 31-21. And you have an 11-play drive eating up 6 minutes. You get down all the way to the Green Bay 21 on 3rd and 3. What's your play call? Jahmyr Gibbs up the middle again. You're going right back to your weak spot. What are you doing? And then 4th and 3 from the 21, 10-point game. You're 0 for 6 on your last 6 fourth down attempts. Kick the field goal and make it a one-possession game. And Ziggy totally disagrees. We are arguing about it. I feel like there's a feel for the game that needs to come into the stats. The stats probably said go for it, right? The stats probably said go for it against Philly too, and it's a 16-9 game, and every point matters. Jared Goff's playing in the freezing cold, which he hates. Sometimes you just can't rely on the numbers. And in this one here, make it a one-possession game. And if you get a stop, I know the Packers have scored on every single drive since then, but you got to get it back within reach here. ultimately, it didn't wind up mattering, right? Green Bay ran out the clock a couple drives later. But it's just those are Dan Campbell's decision making. Again, maybe it often does align with what the analytics say, but I don't know. I just think it can be very costly for Detroit. When it works, it's brilliant. LaFleur here at the end, right? 4th and 3, they go for it. Brilliant play call. Packers win the game. And I get that it's a little unfair at times to the coaches when you're reacting to the results. But if the Packers, I probably would have punted if I were LaFleur there. If they don't get it, you're giving Detroit the ball on the 40-yard line, short field, after allowing them to have more time on the clock than they probably should have. That is something that would have been called into question. And Dan Campbell specifically is so aggressive, and he's so fun to watch, right? It makes for a more entertaining game because we get to talk about these things. And when it works, it's brilliant. But that's always been a concern for me with the Lions. I'm not going to say it necessarily cost them today the way I thought it actually cost them in Philly earlier this year. But it's just something that you got to watch out for if they ultimately even wind up making the playoffs. Because as it stands right now, the Lions are, let's see, they're still the 8th seed in the NFC, but at 7-5, full game behind the 49ers, who are 8-4. Do they play? They don't play this year. I don't know who holds the tiebreaker. If they don't hold the tiebreaker, you're 2 back with only a handful of games remaining. So it's getting a little dicey now in Detroit, and it's kind of unfathomable to think that this Lions team, after going 15-2, may actually miss the playoffs. Because if you polled, every casual NFL fan, or even every educated NFL fan, and said rank your top 10 Super Bowl contenders, the Lions are going to be on everyone's list. I mean, that offense is explosive. But yeah, they're in trouble, and the injuries are not helping out here. I do want to take a look. What were the final numbers on Gibbs today? Yeah, there's one spot. What did we say coming into this was the big key points because Ziggy, Andy, and I all picked Green Bay to win this football game. And the 2 points that I put out there where I said I think Jordan Love's going to be able to have a big day against an injured secondary, whether or not, guys are out or it's guys coming back from injury who are just getting back up to speed. Love, 4 touchdowns, right? 234, only 12 incomplete. Great game. The other one was being able to contain Gibbs by winning at the line, right? And dominating that interior the way that Philly did. Being able to slow down Gibbs the way the Vikings did. Today, Gibbs, 20 carries for 68 yards. He had 219 a week ago. 219 and 2 touchdowns a week ago. 68 and no touchdowns today. And how about in the air? 3 receptions for 18 yards. If you slow down Jahmyr Gibbs, the Lions are a lot less threatening. And especially on a day where Amon-Ra St. Brown exits too. Now, Jameson Williams was great. A fantastic day from Jameson Williams. 7 receptions, 144 yards, a touchdown. A lot of big catches. Tom Kennedy, I called up to the active roster, had some nice punt returns and a couple major. He had the huge 3rd down, 23-yard reception earlier in the game that extended a scoring drive for the Lions. But it was just Green Bay's ability to slow down Gibbs and rally out on tackles, a handful of negative yardage plays for him as well. That's the difference. And Detroit, when they're not able to dominate you up front the way they have, it's just a different team. It's just a different team than the one we saw last year. They've regressed in a lot of different areas, but you're able to get after Goff. I thought Goff was actually really good. He was 20 for 26, 256, 2 touchdowns. His rating was 132.9. I thought Jared Goff had a really good day today and kept them in the game down. When your leading receivers are J-Mo, Tom Kennedy, and Isaac Tesla, and you're in the game the entire way, and Gibbs has under 70 yards. Jared Goff is playing good football. But Green Bay was just able to make a couple more plays on this afternoon. I just want to run through. Sorry, I know that I'm kind of just rambling on to start this here, but it was just a really exciting game and a really big game. Let's see. Let's go into the chat and see what are people saying. I know there's some super chats in here. I'm going to get to all of them. One more thing. If you're enjoying the show, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. We're chasing down 30,000 subscribers. We're almost at 28,000 right now. So it'd be really cool if by the end of this video, we could get up to 28K, which is, I think, within like 150 or something like that. We got 1,400 people listening. It's really cool. Let me look here at the Super Chats. AI summary. Viewers in the chat are discussing the Green Bay Packers performance, including player performances. All right, it's whatever. From Max, he says, Happy Thanksgiving to you and the guys. Go Pack Go. Joshua says, Go Pack Go. Ziggy, bust out your jersey. Thank God Ziggy's not on this stream. I love talking to Ziggy as much as the next guy. I talk to him all the time. Super fascinating human being, right? Wouldn't you say, Robert Ziggy Ziegler? About as unique as it gets. But I don't know if I could deal with the will he, won't he Packers fan today. A little jealous of Green Bay right now. Hidden Handle, I think this is. This shows that Matt LaFleur can coach to win games. Just need to believe in his QB. Go Pack Go. Yeah, that's how Jordan Love is, right? You got to let him off the leash. Every now and then, he'll make a boneheaded play where you just go, what are you doing, Jordan? But when he has a day like today, just let him do his thing, because he was ripping it. To start the game, I texted the guys like, damn, Jordan looks dialed in. And I'm pretty sure on that opening drive, the immediate play following that was the misfire to Bo Melton when Love had a great scramble. We all remember it, right? To get out of a sack a couple times, extends the play out to his right, and just short arms a throw to Bo Melton that would have been a walk-in touchdown. After that, I went, okay, because he had a couple throws in a row that were short, and maybe I spoke too soon. No, Love got dialed in. That's another thing about this Packers team, right? It feels like so often they're one or two plays away from really taking over a game. I think Andy may have said this. I watched the very beginning of Andy's halftime show, then I had Thanksgiving things to do. And I was just thinking about that Melton play. You could even refer back to the illegal contact on Keyshawn Nixon, right? You get a huge sack on 3rd and 15, and you extend the Lions' drive. I can't remember if that drive ended in a touchdown or not, but there are just so many times giving up the 3rd down touchdown, right? The screen to Jamison Williams, where Carrington Valentine had just one of the worst attempted tackles you'll ever see. And credit to J-Mo for being able to bounce off it. But Valentine, I'm not a coach. I'm not going to pretend to be a coach. He just lowered his shoulder and did not wrap up. I remember in 3rd grade learning to wrap up. You wrap up Jamison Williams there, and that's a field goal. There's another 4 points that you lose on that touchdown field goal swap. And Green Bay just so often this year, it seems like they can't make that play to really be able to extend the lead or protect the lead, whatever it is. Today it wound up being fine for them. Lila, who's been a member for 3 months. Happy Thanksgiving, Paul. Grow the stash back. Ooh. Maybe I will. I mean, I feel like this is the most fully grown in it's actually been. So if I shave this beard here, maybe I will bring back the stash if enough people crave it. Sorry, that was kind of weird. Real Stinkween, Toyotathon love. Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous. Hunter Hess, update on the P.O. box. I'm trying to have a jersey signed for the wall. Whoa. See, this is the dangerous thing about getting a P.O. box for this show. It's that everyone's going to very smartly send us a bunch of stuff, a bunch of Packers stuff. And I like to think that I'm just not a jerk. And after getting like this football here, the right thing to do is to put it up for a few episodes. It actually pains me. It really pains me to have this football here. Like there's Ziggy, someone bought Ziggy, the guy, people sitting next to us, and if you're listening, happy Thanksgiving as well. People sitting next to us at the game bought Ziggy a cheesehead at halftime. And Ziggy had just dancing around the cheesehead's nightmare. But Ziggy's like, I can't pack this. So it comes back with me. I have like 2 cheeseheads sitting here, Jordan Love jersey, a football, and I can't just throw it out. These are gifts, but it's just so smart from the listeners who send this stuff, because I feel too bad to actually like just put it in the corner. But it's all right. Okay, Richard, but update, we will have a P.O. box. I'll work on that after the holidays. From Richard Wirtz, wow, $50 donation. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Thank you, Richard. Really appreciate that. It's extremely generous of you. No need to do that, but it's very much appreciated. Trevor, happy Thanksgiving. Loved meeting you guys at Hagemeister. Go Pack Go. J-Love undefeated on Turkey Day. Yeah, I mean, it was great. Yeah, Trevor, it was great. It was great meeting you as well. Just an awesome time at Hagemeister Park. But yeah, something about this time of year. The Packers just find a way to be playing their best football. Jordan Love's done it time and time again. Andrew says, beating the Lions on Thanksgiving is becoming one of my favorite Packers traditions, second only to beating the Cowboys in the playoffs. Yeah, doesn't this feel like that felt like that actually may be the closest the Packer offense has felt to the 2023 run since the actual run itself. Let me know in the comment section if you guys agree with that. I'm trying to think. Last season, there really wasn't a moment to me because Love was dealing with the injury. And this year, the Lions and Commanders games were great, but they felt like defensive dominance. With, Love played well. Steeler fourth quarter, yeah, you guys were awesome. But this one was like, this actually, and maybe it was because it was in Detroit on Thanksgiving. It quite literally was the same game. But this one, I don't know. That felt different today. I know Lions fans aren't going to be happy to hear that. I'm not blowing smoke of the Packers. It did feel a little bit different. Rick Harris says there's still room on the bandwagon. Bro, I'm not, no. Like, yes, you can flood my house with Packer paraphernalia. You can, fill up the comment section, but I will never waver. I will never waver. Even though clearly people are trying. I won't stop here. Okay. What we got? Got to run Jacobs more. Yeah, you can run Jacob. Look, that's another thing that people were getting on LaFleur, right? It was how many times, just a couple weeks ago, is how many times we want to run this thing over and over and over again. You can try and establish the run, but on a day like this where Jordan's just playing excellent, I don't mind if I'm a Packer fan letting him rip it. You ran 30 times this afternoon. Take away a couple 25 times. You take away some Love scrambles. Josh had 17 carries for 83 yards. I thought it was a pretty well called game from LaFleur throughout. Just gonna go through my notes here and see if there's anything that I'm missing that I want to touch on. Got the Wicks touchdowns. Montgomery touchdown here. Oh, yeah, okay. So the 4th and 1, the other Packer touchdown, the second one, I believe it was. A huge drive from Green Bay. Their 4th drive of the game. I believe that this was their second touchdown drive. Yes, it was. The Packers' second touchdown drive that made the score 17-7. Yes, this is one Lions fans, rightfully so, should be furious about. On that drive, Green Bay converts a 3rd and 3, where Christian Watson barely drags his toe, right? It's the second play that we've seen in a very brief span of time where a Packer player was just extremely close to being ruled out of bounds. Probably going to go with whatever the call on the field was. They give it to Watson. Convert a 3rd and 5 here on a pass to Dontayvion Wicks. 3rd and 7, right? On the Detroit 8-yard line. The Lions have 12 men on the field. Extends the play up to 3rd and 3 from the Detroit 4. So already now a bunch of third down mistakes for Detroit. And on 3rd and 3, Jordan runs it to the 2-yard line, setting up 4th and 1 from the 2. And it looked very clearly to everyone watching that Anthony Belton had a false start before Matt LaFleur was able to get a timeout called. Now, I don't know what the rule is, but it just seemed pretty ridiculous to me that after throwing the flag and, basically calling the false start to say, no, actually, we're going to go back and say he got the timeout called. When on the replay, they said maybe he was saying timeout, LaFleur. Didn't look like it. Another critical point in the game where if you're a Lions fan, it's driving you crazy because you're probably thinking that ball was shuffled by Wicks on the first touchdown possession, and now you're going, there's no way in hell that you can give that timeout there. And the Packers wind up scoring, all right? The Dobbs runs into the flat, and Jordan has a picture-perfect throw to the corner. And not the corner, but to the goal line. I'd be furious if I were a Detroit fan. I thought there were a lot of play calls that went the Packers' way early, and it was a lot of them were close, like nothing really definitive. I don't think you can definitively say that LaFleur didn't say timeout, but you're pretty damn sure he didn't. That would have just driven me up a wall if I were a Lions fan. I don't blame them. Tom Monroe was very upset. Most other Lions fans I know were very upset. From Michael Noel, he says, "Go Pack, go. If this team shows up, I can see another trophy for y'all to visit in the Packers Hall of Fame." Packers Hall of Fame was sick. I thought the lockers were really cool. The trophy room was tough. That was a tough place to visit. Having to look at 4 Super Bowl trophies. It's like, what the hell, man? Okay. Just run through this here. Yeah, that about covers most of the big things I want to touch on. Again, yeah, that fourth down call. What Lions fans might say about the 4th and 3, if you're a proponent of it, it's the play was wide open, right? It was wide open. Should have caught the football. Goff puts that on the money 9 times out of 10. J-Mo probably waltzes into the end zone. Seems like there are a lot of times, though, that we look at these plays and we go, should have converted it. It was wide open. Should have hit it. I know we've had that debate on this show. I can't remember the play off the top of my head, but we go, you know what? 9 times out of 10, the Lions convert that. The problem is when you don't, it really crushes you. It's backbreaking. So we'll just have to wind up seeing what happens down the road here. Looking ahead now for both these teams, we'll start with the Lions. They're 7-5, as I said. They're a game back in the loss column from the 49ers. Can't remember who has the tiebreaker. They have hosting the Cowboys coming up in a night game. I think that's Thursday, actually. Is that another Thursday game? The 4th? Yeah. So they have the Cowboys on Thursday Night Football at home. Then they are at the Rams, host the Steelers, at the Vikings, at the Bears. So it's getting real shaky there. What's the 49ers schedule? The 49ers have the Browns and the Titans, at the Colts, host the Bears, host the Seahawks. I mean, that's at least 2. You probably got to give 3 wins to San Francisco. I don't think they're going to catch them there. You might have a better chance of catching the Bears. They already have the win earlier in the year. You're 2 back behind them. You'd have the tiebreaker. You got to hope that if the Bears lose to the Eagles, you control your destiny against them. That's probably what you're rooting for if you're a Lions fan, honestly. Better chance of catching Chicago than actually catching San Francisco. But it's going to be close. I actually think they'll still get in over Chicago, but the Bears really do control their fate. They got 2 more against Green Bay. They got Detroit. They have San Francisco. The Bears want to get in the playoffs, win these games here. For Green Bay now, they host the Bears. They go to Denver, go to Chicago, host the Ravens, and at the Vikings. So at Denver, tough. Hosting Baltimore, tough, but both winnable. Then you got your 2 Chicago games at chance of the division. This is going to be great. Again, I'm taking a back seat. Tankathon is on for me. It sucks, but everyone knows. We've all had the seasons where you just eventually give up, and it's like, all right, we'll see where this goes from here. Now I'm just going to enjoy the games, which is the reasonable thing to do for the whole year. We just get so caught up in it. So I just can't wait. It's gonna be a lot of fun here as we close the year out. Couple more super chats come in. Trevor, also a clear missed call on the Watson pass interference. Yep, absolutely. That was the drive before. I guess that was the Packers' penultimate drive. Penultimate's a word that I don't really hear used very often, but whenever I do, I'm like, this is an impressive word. That play. Hold on, let me just pull it up. Yeah, that was before the Lions had a 13-play field goal drive. It was 31-21, and only a handful of minutes. I think like 8 or 9 minutes left in the game. Felt like a first down there. Green Bay could really have control in Watson's hand. Clearly held down by Meek Robertson. Yep, you're right. Just a complete missed call. And then we have from Rick Harris again. The Bears are frauds. By the way, Rickster. I'm sorry. Hey, Rickster63. Yeah, I know that name. Yeah, look, Chicago, we can make fun of them all we want. Lions, Packers, Vikings fans. They're running the division right now. And if they blow it, right, the Packers play them twice. The Lions get them again. If you guys waltz through and kick their ass, the way Detroit did in week 1, yeah, you say frauds. They missed the playoffs. You go like, yep, it still is a success, I think, for Chicago, honestly, the growth. But they weren't able to get it done against the elite competition. And there is some degree of fraudulence there. Bears fans, I do think the expectation has changed now, though. Like, you view this season as a whole. If we go back in time to week 1, and I give you the situation that they're 8-3, and they blow it at the end, you probably go, yeah, like that's in general a win. But it's a sour ending. I actually think, though, the expectation now is just get into the playoffs. You get into the playoffs, it is a huge, huge success because the winning has changed things. At 8-3, you got to find a way in. Got to win a couple games. You can still pull positives, but for this year to be a true success now for Chicago, I think you just got to close it. Even if it's mediocre, get in, and you're feeling great heading into next year because there are a lot of positives no matter what to take away from this Bears season. All right. So we had over 1,400 people for most of this chat or most of this live stream. It's been just me for almost 40 minutes here. It's just a ton of fun. I mean, is Wyatt out for the year? I saw him carted off. Wyatt's leg looked broken. That's really bad. If that's the case. Yeah, I've seen a couple people. Yeah, we are down bad here. Is there anything out? Let's see. Devontae Wyatt. Let me just look real quick. Devontae Wyatt carted off. Doctor shares concerning Devontae Wyatt news. Brutal injury. I didn't see it that close. That sucks. From Brandon, hopefully, that sucks. Brandon says, I've been watching you guys over the last couple seasons. Just happy for you guys. Happy Thanksgiving. Love you, brother. Guys, love everyone listening too. It's awesome. It's really been great having so many people. I guess it's Thanksgiving. Great day to be thankful, right? Thankful for everyone who listens in to the show. It's meant a lot to us. We got to meet so many of you a week ago, and hopefully we can do more meet and greets. We'll do more giveaways. I know we'll have some announcements. His leg snapped. Jeez, oh my gosh. I guess that shows what this show is. In the middle of a thankful comment, I all of a sudden go, his leg snapped. That sucks. But yeah, it's just been amazing for us, and we'll announce all the winners of the competitions at the beginning of next week because some of them are starting to come out, and we'll do more things. We'll do more giveaways. It's awesome doing this. I'm gonna wrap it up here and go watch the rest of this Chiefs and Cowboys game. What's the score right now? 14-7. I mean, I think that's gonna be a lot of fun. Then we got Joe Burrow back tonight against Lamar Jackson, which even though the Bengals suck, it should be entertaining nonetheless. So. Hope you guys all have an amazing Thanksgiving, great weekend with friends and family, however you're able to spend it. Thanks for taking the time to listen to this reaction. Hope that makes your Thanksgiving weekend a little bit better. We're going to have a lot more content coming out. Tomorrow, if the Bears win or something amazing happens, we'll probably do a live or a regular video coming out. If the Eagles win, not sure. Depends what it looks like. And then Sunday, we'll be back with more content. But just a monster win for you Packers fans. Detroit fans, don't give up. You're still absolutely in this thing. Eagles win and you control your destiny to get in. That's simple as that. So we'll wrap it up there. I believe you control. I don't want that to be written down, but from what looks like you should be. Happy Thanksgiving, guys, and have an awesome weekend.